Shalom, family. Welcome back to another lovely Wednesday class, World History According to the Bible. My name is Brother Yatab, and to my left, we have Brother Miles.
Shalom.
So for tonight's lesson, we're going to go into thanks for giving us hell, okay? So we have many people who are getting ready to celebrate so-called Thanksgiving, even though they ain't give us nothing good. Right. But nevertheless, that's what our people about to celebrate. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24.
This is Job 9 and 24.
Go ahead.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So we know the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, all right? What we see right now in America, Thanksgiving is made out to be one of the greatest holidays that you could celebrate in this nation. One of the greatest, one of the ones to be thankful and proud for our people, just thankful and you know it. But yet, what are you celebrating? What is the origin of it? Because many will call it something good, but get Isaiah. Look at Isaiah. And before we get Isaiah 26, I want to get Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20.
God.
Many want to call it something good, but how does that work? Get Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20. Isaiah 5 and 20. Isaiah 5 and 20.
Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good.
So the scriptures speak, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. Read on.
And good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness.
Because once again, it's not what you want it to be. It's what it is. Read on.
That put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter.
Now let's go ahead and let's read this article. So the name of this article is The American Thanksgiving, Rejoicing in Genocide and White Supremacy by Glenn Ford. Okay? So once again, The American Thanksgiving, Rejoicing in Genocide and White Supremacy by Glenn Ford. Let's go ahead and get into it, and let's read it.
White America.
Now it says white America, all right? Because once again, we got to know who this started with. People say, what about the white man? But once again, we have an enemy, we have an oppressor. Somebody was doing the raping and the killing, okay? And it sure wasn't the black man or the brown man. It was the red man that calls himself white to appear more clean. Let's go ahead. Continue.
White America embraced Thanksgiving because a majority of that population glories in the fruits. If not,
glories in the what?
In the fruits.
What are the fruits behind Thanksgiving? One of the biggest fruits is, heck, the land. All the land that was taken. That's one of the biggest fruits that white America is able to rejoice in. God bless America, my home and native land. Read on.
If not the unpleasant details.
Because that's the thing. They don't want to deal with the unpleasant details. The so-called white man, who you know biblically to be Esau, Edom, he prides himself off of vindicating himself from any sort of wrongdoing that he's done against us. Read on.
Of genocide and slavery, and feels, on the whole, good about their heritage, a cornucopia of privilege and national power. The Thanksgiving story is an absolution of the pilgrims whose brutal quest for absolute
I want to
power.
stop there. I actually want to get Zechariah 11 and 5. I thought it was 7 and 14, but it's 11 and 5. Because this is one of the things, they love to actually absolve themselves of their own crimes whenever they feel the need or desire to. Nah, it's okay. I'm innocent now. That was a long time ago. That's just history. Get Zechariah 11 and 5.
Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them.
And they do what?
Whose possessors slay them.
That's part of the unpleasant details that they don't want to deal with. It says, whose possessors slay them, read on.
And hold themselves not guilty.
And hold themselves not guilty. Read on.
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord.
See that? God bless America. Oh, God is good. Read on.
For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
See that? I'm just able to prosper off of them. Let's go ahead and read on. Oh, let's get Isaiah 26 and 10.
Con.
Because, of course, again, as we're dealing with, they don't like to glory in the unpleasant details. All the things of genocide and slavery, they don't want to do that. They just want to deal with the good about their heritage. They just want to focus on the pilgrims, tired, hungry, needing help, wanted a better future, a better life. They don't want to focus on what about the people you raped, robbed, and steal, and the life you took from them. No. You're clouding my story. No. My life, my suffering, not theirs, not theirs. Get Isaiah 26 and 10.
Isaiah 26 and 10. Let favor be showed to the wicked.
But it says, let favor be shown to the wicked. It said, let favor be shown to the wicked. Read.
Yet will he not learn righteousness?
It said, yet will he not learn righteousness. All right, even if you do, show him some favor. And what does favor mean? By definition, using dictionary.com, it says something done or granted out of goodwill rather than from justice or from remuneration. A kind act, friendly or well-disposed regard, goodwill. So it says, look, even if you do deal with them goodly and justly, even if you don't try to deal with them according to the justice that should be done, as many of our people like to do at times. White man go shoot up a church, just forgive them. Even though you try to give them that favor, that mercy. But what do the scriptures say? Read on, continue.
Yet will he not learn righteousness.
Yet will he not learn righteousness. He's still not going to deal uprightly. Read on.
In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord.
It says, in the land of uprightness will he not deal justly. He's not going to behold the majesty of the Lord, meaning he's not going to put himself in a place to allow the light of truth to shine upon him, that he deals righteously concerning the thing that God said is good. He doesn't even do that in his own court systems. They have you probably now switching, don't do it as much, but swear on the Bible and, try to hold some sort of Christian appeal, but yet instead they don't follow it or apply it. And they hold on to everything else they believe is right. Read on. Is that all of that? Let's go ahead and back to the article.
The Thanksgiving story is an absolution of the pilgrims, whose brutal quest for absolute power in the New World is made to seem both religiously motivated and eminently human. Most importantly, the pilgrims are depicted as victims of harsh weather and their own naive yet wholesome visions of a new beginning.
Now let's deal with that. It says the Thanksgiving story is an absolution of the pilgrim. What does absolution mean? It says act of absolving, a freeing from blame or guilt, release from consequences, obligations, or penalties. So it says, look, Thanksgiving is a day that is freeing the pilgrims of any sort of blame or guilt or consequence of their action. Don't deal with the genocide and the murder. Just deal with all the feel good. It was just a time they came together with peace. They had a good meal, and they just celebrated and partied and were friends. Think of the love. They just loved each other. Oh, my goodness. It said, but whose brutal quest for absolute power in the New World is made to seem both religiously motivated, because one thing, we're just for the greater good of God, brother. It was for the good of God we came to this land and was just trying to get through the best we could. It says an eminently human. That's the way they make it seem when they make it. Yeah, they show all them pictures, and we landed in Plymouth Rock. We needed help. We had families. It was us. We needed help. Oh, we needed help. Just to seem eminently human. Who wouldn't need help? Who wouldn't want to try to help someone with food, clothing, shelter? Those are all humanistic things you want to do to help somebody. Read on.
The Plymouth Hall Museum in Plymouth, Massachusetts, shows
Oh,
that.
my bad. Another thing, it said the pilgrims are depicted as victims when
Con.
they are the perpetrators. Okay, now we can read on up here.
The Plymouth Hall Museum in Plymouth, Massachusetts, shows that of the 102 pilgrims that landed on Plymouth Rock in 1620, only 53 survived by 1621. It is not at all clear what happened at the first and only integrated Thanksgiving feast. Only 2 written accounts of the 3-day event exist, and one of them, by Governor William Bradford, was written 20 years after the fact.
Said, look, so we don't know all the details of what happened at that first feast, but one of the only written accounts is 20 years after the event. Read on.
What is certain is that the first feast was not called a Thanksgiving. At the time, no further integrated dining occasions were scheduled, and the first official all-pilgrim Thanksgiving had to wait until 1637, when the whites
When the who?
when the whites
Read.
of New England celebrated the massacre,
The friendship?
the massacre,
The unity camp.
the massacre
Read.
of the, how do you say this tribe?
Wampanoags.
Wampanoags' southern neighbors, the Pequots.
Mm-hmm. The Pequots.
Pequots. Sometime between 1620 and 1621, Edward Winslow, the 3rd, 6th, and 10th governor of the Plymouth colony,
The 3rd, 6th, and 10th go. Golly.
he took a little vacation,
Woo, man. Go ahead.
along with William Bradford, wrote a journal entitled Mort's Relation, also known as a relation or journal of the beginning and proceedings of the English plantation settled on Plymouth in New England.
Mm-hmm. So remember that. Mort's relation. Read on.
By certain English adventurers, both merchants and others, this is the book that holds the accounts of what was written on the first so-called Thanksgiving between the settlers and Native Americans, particularly of the Wampanoag tribe. Everything else is speculation, opinion, or events that happened after the initial encounter. Continue. Squanto and other Native Americans taught the pilgrims how to survive off the land, teaching them things like
Wait. They taught them what?
how to survive off the land.
See that? Our people went out of their way to teach them how to survive off the land, how to fend, how to hunt, how to live out here in this wide open country. We were your Home Depot. We were your outdoorsmen. That was us, and he stole it from us. Read on.
Teaching them things like how to fish and grow corn. Also, negotiated peace treaties, which the white man broke.
Wait. He kept?
Which the white man broke.
He amended.
Broke.
He broke them. Read on.
Thanksgiving is also known as a national day of mourning by the Native.
What?
National Day of Mourning by the Native Americans.
Hold on. Get Psalms 55, 20 and 21. And we're going to actually read verse 21 first. Psalms 55 and 21. I'm going to get that. It said he broke his treaty.
Psalms
55 and verse 21.
Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
You see that? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, brother. Let's go ahead and let's continue reading.
Yes, sir. In 1637, 700 men and women of the Pequot tribe were killed by the English and Dutch settlers around the time of their Green Corn Festival.
No. That was the time when we came together for Thanksgiving in celebration. They were killed?
Were
How
killed.
many?
700 men and women of the Pequot tribe. They were burned, clubbed, and shot to death.
Oh, they don't put that in the textbooks. My goodness, read on.
The next day, the governor of Massachusetts, Bay, declared a day of Thanksgiving
Why?
because of the great slaughter.
Because of the friendship.
Because of the great slaughter.
Because of the stuffing and dressing.
Because 700 men and women were killed, burned, clubbed, and shot to death.
That just wasn't what I learned in school.
I thought they were fleeing religious persecution.
I thought so too. Oh, you mean what? The Native Americans were fleeing religious persecution. That's what was going on.
That's what was really who was really fleeing.
We were fleeing religious persecution because we tried to get away. Now, that is what you're dealing with when you're dealing with Thanksgiving. All right. So here it is, like you read in last part. It said the next day, the governor of Massachusetts Bay declared a day of Thanksgiving.
The next day.
The next day.
The next day.
Boy, right after murdering our people, is it? That's what they gave thanks to God.
They said all
God
praises.
bless America. All praises. All praises. Read on.
Settlers continued village after village.
Oh, whoa. They didn't just stop there with that Thanksgiving?
Village after village,
So-
killing our people and selling them into slavery, having a Thanksgiving feast after each massacre.
Mm-hmm. So now let's go back to Psalm 55 and let's read 20 through 21.
Psalms 55 and 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
He has broken his covenant, put forth his hand with such as be at peace with them. And part of that I abridged because Mort's relation, it is, a good long article. And then also, too, like I said, the American Thanksgiving, Rejoicing in Genocide and White Supremacy by Glenn Ford is also lengthy articles of some parts I abridged. So now, let's continue with Dr. Tingba.
Dr. Tingba Apipta,
Mm-hmm.
in his Black Folks Guide to Understanding Thanksgiving, surmises that the settlers brandished their weaponry early and got drunk soon thereafter. He notes that each pilgrim drank at least half a gallon of beer a day, which they preferred even to water.
Mm-hmm.
This daily inebriation led to their governor, William Bradford, to comment on his people's notorious sin,
What sin was that?
which included their drunkenness and
Uh-huh.
uncleanliness and rampant sodomy.
It said they had rampant sodomy. That's a mouthful. It didn't just say, it could have just said drunkenness, uncleanness, and sodomy. It said rampant sodomy. You had, these Edomites were in a hurry to get to each other. Come on, Tim. Hold on, Frank.
Notorious for their sodomy.
Notorious. They were known for the rampant sodomy. Now, let's get it back at 1 and 11. Golly. They said they was known. You had big old Edomites chasing each other down. Imagine the sight. I wouldn't want to. Don't think about it. Get it back at 1 and 11. Said, because then shall his mind change.
Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend,
Mm-hmm.
imputing this his power unto his God.
See that? He still imputes his power unto his God. Not our God, but unto his God. Which is his money, his power. So his glory and fame. But all he's doing is offending. He's offending the Most High and he's offending us. But yet and still, all our people want to do is love him and be his friend. They just want peace. But yet and still, that's not what he wants. That's not what's in his heart. In his heart, all he wants is bloodshed. All he wants is for us to be destroyed. Let's continue.
William Bradford, the former governor of Plymouth and one of the chroniclers of the 1621 feast, was also on hand for the great massacre of 1637. Those that escaped the fire were slain with the sword. Some hewed to pieces.
He said, can you believe it? He said, look, because they were really doing it. They was burning up villages and tribes, and they was out there ready. Whoever escaped the fire, boy, we got you with the sword waiting. We're going to make sure we get you. And if the sword ain't got, we got clubs ready for that too. We're going to make sure we double tap, triple tap. Read on.
Some hewed to pieces. Others run through with their rapiers, so that they were quickly dispatched, and very few escaped. It was conceived they thus destroyed about 400 at this time.
Look at that, just killing hundreds. You be like killing hundreds. That's like, that'd be no different than on the same scale if you just had like Edomite just coming in by the droves, just armed and ready and just shooting
Selma,
Israelite, just bam, 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 bam. Yeah,
Selma, Tulsa, you know,
yeah, yeah.
it's
Same thing. Read on.
Khan. It was a fearful sight to see them thus frying in the fire. Horrible was the stink and scent thereof, but the victory seemed a sweet
I
sacrifice.
said the victory seemed a sweet sacrifice. Oh, it had to be done for the greater good. Oh, we're just fleeing persecution. We just want a better life. Read on.
And they gave the prayers thereof to God, who had wrought so wonderfully for them, thus to enclose their enemies in their hands and give them so speedy a victory over so proud and insulting an enemy.
You see that? Because Esau has no problem understanding you're his enemy. We just have a problem understanding that he's ours.
Khan.
But it don't work the same for him. He knows these people are my enemy. I don't care. They're not my friends. I destroy them. So I'm happy about it too. Read on.
Soon after the feast, the brutish Miles Standish got his bloody prize, Dr. Apipta writes. He went to the Indians, pretended to be a traitor,
You see that? He pretended to be a traitor, Rick.
then beheaded an Indian man named Wituamat.
What do you want, my?
He brought the head to Plymouth, where it was displayed on a wooden spike for many years. According to Gary B. Nash, as a symbol of white power, Standish had the Indians man's young brother hanged from the rafter for good measure. From that time on, the whites were known to the Indians of Massachusetts by the name Watauquinange.
That works.
All praises. Which in their tongue meant cutthroats and stabbers.
You see that? After you're watching hundreds of people getting killed, yeah, eventually you'll start to know, all right, he's not my friend. He is definitely not my friend. He is definitely looking like an enemy. He's definitely looking like an enemy. You still got some of our people confused, but it still may take, a little more time, and then they'll start to see, okay, he's still our enemy. He is not our friend.
It took 20th times the charm.
Man. So now, and of course, we'll get these Micah 2 and 1 in Psalm 7:11. We'll get Micah 2 and 1 first. But it said the country they claimed as their own was fathered by genocide and mothered by slavery. All right, that's what happened. The country they claimed as their own, country so-called white man claimed as his own, was fathered by genocide and mothered by slavery. Let's get Micah chapter 2 and verse 1.
Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
Said they devise iniquity. They are planning ways to destroy our people. Read on.
When the morning is light, they practice it.
It says now when it's light, they practice it. All right. We up. All right. Let's go ahead and see if there's another village close by to pillage, huh? I mean, we can have some fun. I mean, hack a few heads off. Huh?
Right?
Let's go. Come on. Jim, John, Dave, you guys ready? Huh? Sharpen those swords, right? Hey,
Kill a
first,
few buffalo on the way.
Kill a few buffalo, rape a few women, rape a few men, hey, all in a day's work, guys. That's how they're doing, practicing wickedness. Read on.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
All because they can. All because they can, so they do it. Doesn't mean they should. It doesn't mean it's not going to be consequences. From there, let's go ahead and get Psalms chapter 7, verse 11 through 13. Psalm chapter 7, verse 11 through 13.
Psalms chapter 7, verse 11. God judgeth the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day.
No, 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 no. He's not angry with the wicked. He's okay with the wicked.
God is angry with the wicked every day.
Some days,
Every day.
special occasions.
Every day.
So the Most High is wicked. I mean, Most High is angry with the wicked.
Hold on.
Say Most High is wicked. Father, forgive me. So Most High is angry with the wicked every day. All right? Read on.
If he turn not, he will whet his sword.
Because that's one of the biggest things. He wants repentance, especially for Israel, but shoot, even with the other nations, he wants them to repent. That's why they're being judged now. And they're going to continue to be judged because he wants them to repent. They should have been doing right, especially with how they was dealing with us. But we the main ones he worried about trying to get right. But the other nations, he said, y'all time coming. But it's going to be done according to y'all deeds. And Esau, the number one enemy on the list. Read on.
He hath bent his bow and made it ready. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordained his arrows against the persecutors.
He prepared from the instruments of death. He has instruments of death lined up. So now let's continue on with the article.
Andrew Jackson, who's it? Just a guy, not the president. Andrew Jackson, that's the president, yeah. Andrew Jackson was prompted by the desire of white settlers in the South to expand into the lands belonging to the 5 Indian tribes. Andrew Jackson pushed the Indian Removal Act through Congress in 1830 by the desire of white settlers in the South to further expand into Native American territory. The U.S. government spent nearly 30 years forcing Indians to move westward beyond the Mississippi River.
No. The government wouldn't try to forcibly move people.
Spent 30 years forcing Indians to move westward.
No, what about Thanksgiving? Where's the love?
Still looking.
Read on.
On example, over 15,000 members of the Cherokee tribe were forced to walk from their home in the southern states to designated Indian territory in modern-day Oklahoma in 1838.
No, they took a bus.
Forced to walk.
They were forced to walk?
This is known today as the Trail of Tears. It is estimated about 4,000 Cherokees died on the journey.
Man, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Let's get Exodus 21-16. Everything they put us through, making us suffer. The burnings, slaughter, the slavery, servitude, the raping, forced migration. What didn't he do?
Right.
I guess come in peace, huh? That's the only thing he did do was come in peace. Woo.
He signed the treaty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he signed the treaty.
He's happy to sign treaties.
Yeah, he's happy to sign. All right. He's just not happy to do what he said he was going to do. It's the same thing he does today. He make you sign on the dotted line for everything. He wants to make sure he get all the fine details and everything he want to hold you accountable for, but yet and still, he always wants to make him a loophole out. He said, no, this is for you to abide by. I'm not abiding by this. And if you want this product, you got to sign it. Otherwise, you don't have to take it. And that's like with everything. It's now every app on your phone got a user agreement by Esau that you got to abide by. Otherwise, you can't use it. You push decline, you can't use the app. That's it. If you either accept it or reject it all. You reject it, then you can't use it. And it's like, man, I need it for this. I got to use it for this. Then you got to accept it. You ain't there for every application for a business, job, phone, app. You partially sell your soul. All these applications, they
always in the fine print.
It's always in the fine print. They get us, and they
devil
said,
in the details.
Yeah, and ain't no point in reading them all because someone did a study. Like it was it was a documentary that started going over like how all these fine print rules been getting longer and longer, you know. But it's one of they said it'll take you like a crazy amount of time to read them all because they just been getting longer and longer. It would take you a crazy amount of time to read them. And then it's crazy too because they could just put anything in them, and usually most people ain't gonna read it all because they know
Right.
ain't nobody finna sit there and read a 23-page report on everything. Is too much.
For an iPhone update.
Yeah, for an exactly for an iPhone update every time.
Every time.
Every time it come up, it's like, all right, just accept it. You know. All right, let's
I got
continue.
Exodus.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Exodus 21:16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
See that? Safe to say we're still in his hands. Those of us that are alive, you know, we're still in his hands. The descendants, we're still in his hands. So therefore, he still has to be put to death. Let's continue.
The following year, Captain Hunt, an English slave trader, arrived at Patuxet. It was common practice for explorers to capture Indians, take them to Europe, and sell them into slavery for 220 shillings apiece.
Whoa. No. Native Americans were not sold in slavery across the ocean.
It was common practice
Common practice.
for explorers to capture Indians, take them to Europe,
Take them to the West Indies? South America. North America.
Europe,
Read on.
and sell them into slavery for 220 shillings apiece. That practice was described in a 1622 account of happenings entitled A Declaration of the State of the Colony and Affairs in Virginia, written by Edward Waterhouse. True to the explorer tradition, Hunt kidnapped a number of Wampanoags to sell into slavery.
No, Hunt wouldn't do that. He's a good white man. He's a good one. He kidnapped a number of Wampanoag to sell into slavery. Hunt was on the hunt, wasn't he? Let's continue.
Thou sayest. Another common practice among European explorers was to give smallpox blankets.
Thank you. That's what they gave us. Smallpox. Thanksgiving. That's what they gave us. Smallpox. Smallpox blanket. That's Thanksgiving right there.
A common practice, it says.
Another common practice. Continue on.
Since smallpox was unknown on this continent prior to the arrival of the Europeans,
See that? We didn't even know those types of diseases and uncleanness. Those things came straight from Esau. Read on.
Native Americans did not have any natural immunity to the disease, so smallpox would effectively wipe out entire villages with very little effort required by the Europeans.
See that? Wiping out village with very little effort required by the European. They had small. Think of the effort that they had to put in, that your enemy had to put in to actually make smallpox blankets. It wasn't just something like oh snap, oh here's a blanket I just kind of found. I guess you can have it, keep it warm. He was still at that time, what they call it? That's still biowarfare, biochemical warfare, trying to destroy us. He's deliberately trying to use diseases to kill us.
Taking all the blankets from whatever
Yeah.
sick wards they had.
Man. And making sure,
Making sure we got them.
Warp field and here, get them good and give them this. Here, we gave you something good. I say no, still they ain't give it. And everyone, well, not everyone. You got many praising the vaccine right now. The vaccine is good. It's good for me. He's giving it out for free. Why would he give me anything for free that would be bad for me? They say it's clinically proven.
But it'll take 55 years to see that document. You see that?
Yeah, I know. It'll be a unclassified or declassified document. Declassified document that comes out, 25, 30 years from now. It talks about, COVID. And they really were injecting, people with. They had two injections. One was a placebo, which some people got. The other one had, a combination of mercury and formaldehyde and, monkey virus and these things. And they knew people were going to get sick and they knew people were going to die, but the CDC approved it anyway. They wanted to see how many people. It was a social experiment to see how many people would die, but it was targeting communities of color. And, yeah, that eventually all come out.
There'll be commercials. If you or a loved one took the COVID-19 vaccine in 2019, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
You're right. Go ahead. Go ahead, read.
William Fenton describes how Europeans decimated Native American villages in his 1957 work, American Indian and White Relations to 1830. From 1615 to 1619, smallpox ran rampant among the Wampanoags and their neighbors to the north. The Wampanoag lost 70% of their population to the epidemic, and the Massachusetts lost 90%.
You see that? Now that's an epidemic right there. We saying that we in a pandemic right now, and I don't see us losing them type of numbers. I don't see us losing 70% of the population in the U.S. or in other places of the world right now. So, and I ain't heard them type of numbers. It said that smallpox ran rampant among the Wampanoags.
For 4 years.
Man, they lost 70% of the population. Watch, when the Mossad start sending more of these plagues, you're going to start seeing boom, boom, people just dropping by numbers. Let's continue.
By the 1670s, the colonists, with 8,000 men under arms, felt strong enough to demand that the Pilgrims' former dinner guests, the Wampanoags, disarm and submit to the authority of the crown.
You see this? They got the nerve. After all this, now here comes the white man. All right, well, don't you think that's been enough? You might as well surrender now to the crown. I'm just saying, now's be a good time. Chief, talk to your people. Get them to understand, okay? Can you do that for me, guy? We wouldn't want any more atrocities going on now, right? Promise? Won't be any more. Just submit. Then things will be better for you. Let's read on.
After a series of settler provocations in 1675, the Wampanoags struck back.
Woo! Our people struck back. Read.
Under the leadership of Chief Metacomet, son of... I'm trying my best.
Chief Metacomet.
Metacomet, son of Massasoit, called King Philip by the English. Metacomet Philip, whose wife and son were captured and sold into West Indian slavery, wiped out 13 settlements and killed 600 adult white men before the tide of the battle turned.
Let's go ahead. All right. Earlier than that, Turner. Okay. Let's get it on. Our people were fighting. I like it. Read on.
A 1996 issue of the Revolutionary Worker provides an excellent narrative. In their victory, the settlers launched an all-out genocide against the remaining native people.
You see that? They said, oh, you want to fight back now? See, it's better if you just sit there and take it. But now you want to fight back? We're going to have to wipe you out now. It's not that I wanted to do it, but we were just trying to have a good Thanksgiving celebration. And here you go trying to resist. And so now we got to start taking you out. So here he goes. Read on.
The Massachusetts government offered 20 shillings bounty for every Indian scalp.
Because you see that? Was the Native American that started scalping first? It was the white man. We just did it, stooping to his level of brutality to hopefully so that he'd get it. That's the only way he understands. He doesn't understand peace. He only understands war. Read on.
And 40 shillings for every prisoner who could be sold into slavery. Soldiers were allowed to enslave any Indian women or child under 14 they could capture. The praying Indians who had converted to Christianity and fought on the side of the European troops were accused of shooting into the treetops during battles with hostiles. They were enslaved or killed. Other peaceful Indians of Dartmouth and Dover were invited to negotiate or seek refuge at trading posts and were sold onto slave ships.
See that? He said, well, you die, you join our forces, but oh, you don't want to kill your people? Well, you're going to either be killed or into slavery. I mean, I'm trying to help you guys. Either you join us and help kill your people, or we got to kill you. Those are his options. Either I kill you, or you help me kill your people, or you go into slavery. Which one?
Either way, you're going into slavery.
Yep. Either way.
It don't matter if you're peaceful or Christian or both.
You would think maybe if I just side with them, things would be good. It ain't gonna be no better. So now, let's get Isaiah 65, 11 through 12.
Isaiah 65 and 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop.
Because in celebrating this Thanksgiving feast, you are those that forsake the Most High and prepare a table for that troop that overcame us. Read on.
And that furnish the drink offering unto that number.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore will I number you to the sword.
Because that's what happened to us both historically in the past during the time they're reading about in the 16, 17, 1800s. However, that's also still happening to us now because we're not repenting from keeping these things, which the Most High does not like because it celebrates the destruction of our people. Read on.
And ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not.
Right. We chose not to do what the Most High wanted us to do. Therefore, we were destroyed. And we continue to be destroyed because we're not doing what the Most High wants us to do, what God wants us to do. And that's why he says this. Let's get Amos chapter 5 and verse 21, and then we're going to drop down to verse 23. We're going to get Amos chapter 5, verse 21.
Amos 5 and 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
He hates and despises our feast days because we're wicked. And even though we're claiming we're trying to worship and celebrate God, we're doing it in wickedness if we're not doing it according to what he says is good. Read on.
Verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs.
We always want to sing a good song and a good praise. God ain't trying to hear it. Read on.
For I will not hear the melody of thy viols.
Good. So now let's get Mark chapter 7, verse 6 and 9. Mark chapter 7, verse 6 and 9.
This is Mark chapter 7. Verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites.
It said, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites. Read on.
As it is written.
As it is written.
This people honoreth me with their lips, but
I love God. Thank God.
But their heart is far from me.
But I ain't really trying to keep the laws, though. That's what it is. Read on.
Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Because
Thanksgiving, how it's celebrated, isn't commanded of God. But that is rather what, as we were getting the history, was by man. And it goes against what the Most High wants us to do. Read on.
For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do.
So you don't want to keep what the Most High says is good. You want to hold on to your traditions that go against the word of the Most High. From there, let's go ahead and let's go back to the article.
God. The Wampanoag chief, King Philip, was beheaded.
Mm.
His head was stuck on a pole in Plymouth, where the skull still hung on display 24 years later.
Mm.
After King Philip's War, there were almost no Indians left free in the northern British colonies.
It said at the King Philip War, there were almost no Indians left free in the northern British colony. They were either all killed or in servitude. Read on.
A colonist wrote from Manhattan's New York colony, "There is now but few Indians upon the island."
Oh, many?
Few Indians.
Read on.
And those few no ways hurtful. It is to be admired how strangely they have decreased by
That's the white man said. He said, "What happened to all the Indians?
there used to be
There
so
used to be
many.
so many of them.
I have no idea.
Such a beautiful people. I don't even know what happened." Oh man, it's so sad.
That's what they're
Oh.
telling their Indian slave in their
Yeah.
house. I don't know what happened to your people.
Yeah, they said, "I don't know what happened to your people. You guys used to be so cool. Now you don't really see too many of you nowadays." Read on.
It is to be admired how strangely they have decreased by the hand of God.
He said, "Oh, strangely they are decreased by the hand of God." Still thanking God. He said it's a phenomenon. They just forgot all the atrocities. Read on.
Since the English first settled in these parts. In Massachusetts, the colonists declared a day of public thanksgiving in 1676, saying, "There now scarce remains a name or family of them, the Indians, but are either slain, captive, or fled."
You see that? That's their rejoicing and having a public thanksgiving, thanks to them there scarcely being any Native Americans. Read on.
The Pequot tribe numbered 8,000 when the Pilgrims arrived, but disease had brought their numbers down to 1,500 by 1637. The Pequot War killed all but a handful of remaining members of the tribe.
And that's from Indie Media.
Most historians believe about 700 Pequots were slaughtered at Mystic. Many prisoners were executed, and surviving women and children sold into slavery in the West Indies.
Oh, see that? In Europe and the West Indies.
Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of white folks thought so too. This day forth shall be a day of celebration and thanksgiving for subduing the Pequots. Read Governor John Winthrop's proclamation, "The authentic Thanksgiving Day was born."
That's how the authentic Thanksgiving Day was born. Read on.
George Washington suggested one day be set aside to celebrate each and every massacre. In 1863, during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln made it law.
So now you go. George Washington said, hold on. We can't have a celebration after every time we destroy a village, after every time we decimate a town. We can't have a Thanksgiving. There's just too many festivals. We need but one. And then came Abraham Lincoln, Honest Abe. We will make it a holiday to be celebrated yearly
By law.
by law. And you'll get the day off. Everybody will. National holiday. Read on.
It is currently celebrated on the last or fourth Thursday of November.
And that is the history of Thanksgiving. And so now
You want to talk about the
they
food?
have, oh yeah, of course. Now this is even a ceremonial dish. Even some speak on the ceremonial dish as to why it is very specific, for that particular day. Why you get the turkey represents the body of the Native Americans. The mockery. They make a mockery of our people. They know we use the feathers for our crown, and they make a mockery of us. Have the turkey, the stuffing is the atrocity that they've done, and then the cranberries are the bloodshed. But it's all in mockery of us. So that's the thanks for them giving us hell on this Thanksgiving Day, and most High permit, if you are celebrating or you was thinking about celebrating it, you can repent and move forward in righteousness. We got something you can celebrate if you want to party and have fun. You can celebrate the Feast of Dedication. It's coming up Monday evening. You can celebrate it instead of partaking in Thanksgiving. Celebrate and partake in something that's holy and dedicated unto the Most High. So with that, we go ahead and talk to y'all later. Shalom.
Shalom.